Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamshachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I salute Lord Krishna, the world teacher, the son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of Kamsa and Chanura, the supreme bliss of Mother Devaki. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So we are in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and we are on page 192. Today we start from there. We have read that the spiritual life is to control the senses, mastering the senses. But it is difficult to control them. That's why Yatatu, we have read the verse number 60, this excited senses, O son of Kunti, impetuously carry away the mind of even a wise man, striving for perfection. People all know that this world is not permanent, but still we get attached to it, and we become so involved, we make our life almost lost into the external things. And most of our life goes on in that pursuit. So it is the senses. Eyes have been created, it has its object, it will run for the object. Ear has been created, it will run for its object. So every five senses have their own subject and the senses are so connected intrinsically. Even if you think, no, I will not see, I'll concentrate here. Suppose I am meditating. I am sitting in meditation and someone opens a door and makes a noise. I was meditating. I cannot stop. My ear goes immediately there. Who is coming? I may not show it to others. I am meditating, I won't see. But mind is connected automatically. As if that's why knowing fully well we cannot restrain. That is the problem in the spiritual path. We do not know what to do with it. That we have no mastery over our own mind. So, yatato upi kaunteo, O Arjuna, even one is striving hard to control the senses, means the mastering the senses, indriyani pramathini. The senses are turbulent as it were. Any instigation comes, it gets immediately, it reacts. So it is haranti, it drives away the mind forcefully, as if we are helpless there. He may be one big hero, maybe outside, he may be a good warrior, he may be a good king, big, powerful person, but here, internally he fails here. This is the weakness. And that is the problem for growth in spiritual life. Now what to do now? He says, no. Whatever happens, tani sarvani sangyamya. Last verse, we read that last time. Tani sarvani sangyamya. Now controlling tani means all these sense organs. These organs of sight, hearing, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting, all these five senses, sarvani sangyamma. Sangyamma means fully bringing them under control. Yukto hashito. You keep your mind connected with me. That means you have to give some food to the mind. You cannot say, mind, you're blind, don't go there. You have to say, no, come and sit here. To give as I give the common example, I like fast food. Fast food, mind goes immediately. You are driving, a fast food shop going on side, your mind tells, oh, could I have a stop over here? No? Already it is not, we are not going all the time, but mind is telling me. That means you have to control. No, not fast food, but good food, healthy food. So this turning the attention of the mind from this thing which is not uncontrolled to the controlled situation, that we have to practice yukto ashito. You should stay, you should remain in a state of control. And Basehi Sendriyani, and if you can stay in your own consciousness, then you are to be asked to be pragya, your knowledge, you are established in your wisdom, you are established in your knowledge. So you will be then called that you are a yogi. So the yogi means one who unites with the inner self, who unites with the consciousness. What is within, he knows and he connects there. We know there is divine within us. But how long we connect with that reality? Day and night, 24 hours goes. If we look back, then how long we connect with that reality? Because everyone wants peace and joy. We know that connecting within the inner self is the place of peace and joy. But what happens? Even if we struggle hard, mind is driven away to somewhere because it has its connection, more favorable connection, bad relationship with the objects which are temporary and meaningless. So, therefore it says, Teno, the yogi having controlled them all. You will have to control mean master. Control word has some bad connotation. No one wants to be controlled. But to master that, you have horses, 5 horses. The 5 horses, 10 horses. The Upanishad says, no? The 10 horses are dragging the whole carriage in an own direction, uncontrolled. So therefore, these horses, the senses, must have to be controlled. And then under an intelligent driver, they should drive that so that the horses could be directed. And the total energy of the horsepower, your car will move faster with a horsepower all added. But 10 horsepower engine, now digressed among themselves, one going left, another going right, another going this direction, and then nullifying the growth of the and movement of the car, this spiritual car which we have been given, it goes wasted. So therefore, yogi, when they having controlled them all, then what they should do? You want to be a yogi, O Arjuna? Maybe addressing, we are telling all of us. That's why it is universal text for the whole world. It is not a Hindu text. People call it a Hindu text. It is universal text for everyone. It says, yogi, you want to unite with the divine. Then you have to control them all. And you sit focused on me as the supreme goal. I, the Lord of the universe. Focus on me. Or if you don't want to think me, okay, you think me as infinite, absolute, non-dual reality, as a cosmic consciousness. Whatever way you want to think that way. That think of me. Me is capital. It is not the me means the man Krishna. It is the Lord Krishna. Then Lord the ruler Krishna? No. God the creator Krishna? No. It is from whom Krishna comes even. That means the absolute Satchidananda. You can, that's the different philosophies come here. If you mean M-E, me, is Krishna only, then Krishna, the person with infinite good qualities, will think about that. And Krishna, even that great person who was born with such qualities, that is also a limited personality in comparison to the infinite. So then you think of that Krishna as Satchidananda. Ahamadischa madhyascha bhutanam antaevacha. I am the beginning, I am the middle, I am the end of all creation, all pervaded consciousness. So you can think of Krishna. Anyway, point is that you want to be a yogi, you have to practice this. Sit focused, and focusing on me, the Lord, the God, or whatever, as the supreme goal. That is the goal of life. And as a result, if you can see that, then his wisdom is constant, whose senses under total subjugation. That means, who is a yogi? It is, I am on page 192. 192. So it says that he is wisdom. If one can have the mastery over the senses and can divert the mind to the destined goal of the Lord, who is all pervaded consciousness, or you can Saguna Brahma, you can think of Nirguna Brahma, whatever may be your idea about me, the capital, you do that and control. That naturally, if you focus there and mind does not go anywhere, then you will be a perfect yogi, and wisdom, your wisdom will be a perpetual wisdom, wisdom of knowledge and absolute freedom. That knowledge will dawn. That we did. And now it is more very important verse for us to every day analyze. This verse is the verse number 62 on the top of page 193 in English, transliteration. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumshaha Dhyayato Vishayan Pumshaha Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodha Abhijayate Kamat Krodha Abhijayate. So, what happens? Dhyayato Vishayan Pungsha. You know, our mind is what? Mind is like water. You keep it in a glass, it takes the shape of the glass. You keep it in a jar, it takes the shape of the jar. You keep it in a bowl, it takes the shape of the bowl. Any design you keep, you give the mind takes that card. Don't blame the mind. We have not kept the mind in the cup, in the cast of Ramakrishna. And Swami Vivekananda said that you have to build your life, you have to cast your mind in the mold of Ramakrishna. Our life should be in the mold, casting in the mold of Ramakrishna. Meaning, you will no more be there. It will be Ramakrishna. Because your mind is not in the cast of the divine. Therefore, we are what we are now. A person, that's why it's called, spirituality is called transformation of character. So, if a person retains his own old thoughts and ideas, then this mind remains the same old mind. But the development means, spiritual development means mind becomes purer and takes the cast of God, the thought, godly thought, noble thought, thinking that I am beyond body, beyond mind, or I am pure self. No? So this mind is the point. Therefore, if we keep the mind in some sense objects, suppose someone keeps the mind in lustful thought, his actions, his reactions, his movement will be directed in that way. If one thinks I'll be a singer in the mold of music, day and night thinking he lives in the music world, and physically maybe like us, but internally mind is tuned to that music world. So if we look at every personality, whatever we think, that's why it is said, whatever we think, so we become. Thinking is a tremendous powerful thing. So he says, if you dhyayoto vishayam, if anyone thinks, meditates on vishaya, means sense objects, if day and night thinking of, say, someone is thinking of, all success comes in their particular aspect of life, no? Someone is a lawyer thinking of law, or thinking of that one. Whatever way we think, we become soon like that. That's why he said, dhyayoto vishayan pungsha, when a person is thinking of the vishaya, means sense objects. Money, 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 house, 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 wealth, 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 name, 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 power, 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 power. He becomes an embodiment of that. Lust, greed, everything. Thinking more and more and more. You are fanning, you are giving some fanning to grow that idea of worldliness, you become worldly. You fan it for spirituality, you become spiritual. So we blame people because of him or her, this is happening there. No, no, no. How I train my mind, how I fan it, and how it takes the shape of sense object or divine object. Sense object is not bad, but at the beginning I don't understand it is God. There is nothing but God in the world. I look at you, you are nothing but divine. But I am seeing you as a man or woman. And I am looking at your qualities. Oh, is good quality, this aspect, that aspect. I am creating that. But it is all divine. So if I think of the sensory objects, Vishaya, Pungsha, Sangha, we get attached to it. One time you think one thing, second time, third time, fourth time, no? You become attached to that. You know, there are some stories. So in the classical music, you have to play, you have to practice, no? Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sha, like that. They go on, and in the morning, those who are practitioners in India, and in the early morning they get up and they start that. Neighboring person feels so bad. This is the morning time, we are yet to sleep. And he starts his it's called the rewaj. The permutation and combination of sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, and then rotating this way, that way. And it is so disturbing. But afterwards, sometimes it happened that the guy, the family moved from there. And then everyone who had disturbed, they were thinking, oh my God, we are not hearing that. That was not so bad. Unconsciously, they grow love for that music, and musical, the taste for that music is growing in the person. So it is only contact. Contact with the sense objects, you get attached to it. Unconsciously, we do that. Attachment comes how? Attachment comes of contact. Sense objects and the senses get touch, contact. So this is the great philosophy. Contact with the brooding on the objects of the senses. I like this, I want that, I want that. The whole mind is engaged in that way. The person develop an attachment to them. And from attachment comes sangat, sanjayate kama, desire comes. I will grab it. First it comes, someone, given an example, someone tells me, oh, we are going on a cruise, please come with us. We say, no, it is not necessary. I don't like it, this, that. No, in the cruise, you don't know. So much, it is boson, on the waters, free air. It's all pollution, it's this and that. And praise that. You see, Sangat, on this type of words, is touching my ear and they going to the brain, and I am getting gradually little converted. And then, if you say 20 times, 10 times, 20 times, no? That's called brainwashing. So if you are not interested in it, but after some times you say, okay, we can go, no? Though I don't like, but you are saying, then I'll go. See how, which was I was not concerned at all about that. If you are told that there is greatness of that cruise journey and the food and the entertainment, and also the health will be improved and this and that, all this, I get attached to that. And then attachment means you have to move. And you move for that journey. That's why third stage comes desire. And desire comes, I will go. And now, at that point, you have planned everything, and every program is done, and now someone says, no, this is the thing you have to do now, you stop your journey. It is without my wish to go, and I planned in so many ways. I was not interested, then I got interested. And I got interested, and then when I got interested, and I was almost taking my move to fulfill that desire, and someone stops that. Anger comes. Or anger, whenever any anger, if we analyze, look at our all experiences of anger. I get angry, why? What I want, what I desire, you are not supporting, or you are opposing. Anything comes opposing that, it creates an anger. I want it, I wish it. A child wants to play. You take out the toy. It's particularly nowadays, you take out the tablet or iPad from this baby or child even, see what happens. He has anger, he throws away, and only they express their anger by crying. Ultimately, crying is the last resort. That means, but adult people, we become angry, and we hide that anger. Now, next time something happens, it is misdirected next time, not in right place, in the wrong place. So all these problems come. So this is a formula, very eternal formula, how we get involved into these life's troubles. So, dhyayato vishayan pumsam, if you meditate and think on these sense objects, unconsciously we get attached to it because it has its own immediate charm, and that immediate charm creates an attachment, and then I say, I will get it, I want to have it, and if anyone stands on the way, then I become anger. So, sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate. So brooding on the objects of the senses, one develops the attachment to them. And from then attachment comes our desire. I want to grab it, I want to have it. I must have to have it, no? And from that desire, anger comes. And when anger comes, what happens? We all know what happens when anger comes. I lose my sense. I lose my dignity. I forget that I should not behave this way. In anger comes, what they do, we all do that. When anger comes, we do not know what I am saying. I should not use those words. I should not behave like that. But it happens. Because that is the nature of anger. Krodhat bhavati sangmoha. Krodhat bhavati sangmoha. Sangmohat smriti vibhramaha. Sangmohat smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhrangshat buddhinasho. Smriti bhrangshat buddhinasho. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Buddhinashat pranashyati. So krodhat, these are the downgrade journey of the human soul. It started attachment. Even, see, someone brings a gift, a good, nice gift, something. It was not mine. I have no attachment to that. Suddenly someone says, it is for you. I take it. And immediately after that, a little scratch comes over there, or it falls down and breaks. Immediately, I feel the pain of it. And how within split second I get attached to it, and because of that attachment, the reaction is coming. So similarly, it is krodha from the anger, bhavati sammoha, delusion comes. We get deluded, we forget our identity. And then delusion brings the memory loss. What is the memory? Memory, we are divine, we are pure. We are what? Our real nature is something more than this mundane reality. So we forget our own self and our own memory is lost. And smriti bhrangshat, when we forget our own memory, then buddhi naso, we lose discrimination. Buddhi nashat, and from that loss of discrimination, what will? Pranashati. One really loses his all, everything which is great and goal. So from anger proceeds delusion, and from delusion, confused memory. From confused memory, the ruin of reason. Due to the ruin of reason, one perishes. That means what is enunciated here may be explained through concrete example. This book gives some example. A man goes to his office every day, seeing on the road many people, but not taking note of them. Like mere phantoms, they appear and disappear. An attractive figure one day left a faint impression in his mind. On the following day, the same figure drew a little more of his attention. Subsequent sights of lovely figure made him cogitate. It was a pretty young woman that took possession of his mind. He developed attachment to it and picked up acquaintance with her, which steadily grew into friendship. Then came in him the desire to make the charming woman his own. Rivalry now ensued between him and another young man courting her. Competition between the two changed into bitter anger. This is giving a very gross example. But that is the way association with the objects of the senses disturbs the inner peace. And then what else is anger if it is not an obstructed desire? All our anger is obstructed desire. Desire being obstructed by some person, by some circumstances, by some condition, that anger comes. From this sort of anger provoked in one, the nature of desire lurking in one can easily be detected. Anger is temporary insanity. That is true. If we look back to our anger, and then we can say, why did I do? Sometimes we say, I should not get so much angry. That means this insanity, it is not sanity. Normally we don't care for, and we should not be so much reacted. And we call them yogi, those who are equanimity in mind. They don't react so much. Swami Sarvadevananda, example. Swamiji is scolding him right and left, and he is just sitting as if you are talking to a wall. He is not affected by anything. And after a long time, Swamiji said that, okay, you have a cold blood, like that of a fish blood. You don't get warmed up at all. I tried to do that. But what happened? And when he let go, and then when he went, then Swamiji appreciated how he is calm, He is tranquil because his mind is in divine, in Brahman. So this ripples, it does not create any ripple in the mind. So he has no attachment. So that is the point, that anger, this temporary insanity. When the mind is occasionally upset, it is anger. When permanently, it is a lunacy. We sometimes say that who is an angry person all the time, no? For any little thing he gets angry. That means it becomes so intense then it turns to be a disease as it were. In effect, both are the same, delusion ensues in either case. In the woodlands, the trees, the creepers, the plants are all easily discernible. But when there is a dust-laden tempest, the trees are tossed so much that one cannot be distinguished from another. It is a mass of confusion. Like that, to this is the state of mind given to anger. It gets deluded first, next comes loss of memory of the things which is good or bad. A violence is resorted to indiscriminately paving the way for self-destruction. It happens, we see that when one gets really upset or really mad or called anger, they throw things, they break their own glasses, throwing it or breaking the door and window, and they will have to repay again by their own pocket money. But that time the anger mood makes them restless. So this is the prolonged bitter anger in two wars of the burst one day into a rage. So a minute a minute people seed gets into a crack in a wall, sprouts, grows, rents the wall asunder. Similarly, an evil thought germinates in the mind, develops in its own way, and wrecks the man ultimately. Thought can make or mar the one. A thought can make or mar a person. Good thought mends and make man, while the evil one ends him. So this is the point. This is a very great lesson, a step-by-step analysis that two verses 62 and 63 added together we should read, that when brooding over the objects of the senses, for having that object to get it, person unconsciously develops certain attachment to that, and attachment, out of attachment then comes desire, and then from desire sprouts forth the anger, and anger precedes delusion, and delusion loses the memory of the person and memory of his dignity, memory of his personality, and from that confused memory bad comes. Similarly, it can be turned the opposite way. We can be attached to God. This is bad if it is turns into the sensory objects. But if one is so fortunate that his attachment comes, thinking. That's why our spiritual life is the same thing. We fall in love. Suppose people love one particular form, so many forms of gods and goddesses. In Hinduism always people have that choice. So someone is fall in love with Durga, Ma Durga, or Ma Kali, or Rama, or Christ, or Shiva, or Buddha, and thinking day and night, sangas, kamat, then desire comes. I want to be like pure like Buddha. I want to be selfless like that. So all these divine qualities, that's the meaning of the japa. Why you do japa? We remember, we retain the name of the Lord, means the name carries the purpose of chanting the name, indicating who is named by that qualities, the divine qualities. So similarly, it is insanity. Ramakrishna was called a crazy guy. He was insane. His behavior not common. He is just day and night meditating, rolling down in the bank of the Ganga, and not caring what is done. He's angrily, Ma, why are you not coming to my life? Even it becomes so intense, I will kill myself. No? See, the same thing. It is attachment. So we have to grow, which is negatively, with the sense object we know. When I love some object, I want to get it, grab it, I want to have it, then these are the down, step by step downgrade. But the same thing can be utilized, as Ramakrishna said, everything can be turned towards God. So if that attachment comes for God, then what happens? Gradually, attachment leads to absorption leads to the deeper identification with the divine and the divine qualities. Your heart will be touching that source of joy, the source of peace and happiness, and then one becomes absorbed and dive deep into that and lost into that. And that is freedom. So, but in ordinary sense, this is the warning that we should be very careful. Therefore, in the scriptures, Hindu scriptures, it talks too much of renunciation. Why? Because it is attachment starts at one point. In scripture, another scripture, it says, Tarangaita opi me samudrayante. You think that little desire is coming, and if you don't nip in the buds, then what happens? It will be slow, and it will grow, and it will be a huge tidal wave in time. So it is better to be watchful of the mind, those who are spiritual seekers. Where is this attachment? Where I am getting tied up? If there is anything sensory, which is momentary, there we should be careful about, so that it does not take us to the downgrade journey, to the attachment. In many such instances, people started their spiritual journey, and then the journey goes, as he gave the example, and there are so many downfalls, stories of downfall. How? It is simple inadvertence of the mind. Sangha, association. Association meaning growing, creating some impression in the mind. Attachment is, I have to get it, I will have it. To get it, have it, and then if you don't get it, then anger, frustration, these all the consequences of starting point, attachment, association. So, association with the holy, Ramakrishna says, that is the mandate for purifying ourselves, and association with the unholy leads all these things, and then that person forgets about what is the purpose of life, why am I here? What am I want to receive? What am I getting? What is the goal? Why am I behaving such? Now, what should the mind then win from the senses be placed? Now, yes, so you understand, mind should not be connected with the sense objects. Sense objects have this downfall, it can grow attachment to much deterioration, and anger, frustration, everything will come. Therefore, what is to do? This 64th verse on page 196. Then, therefore, this instruction of Bhagavad Gita is that Raga Dvesha Bijuktoistu Raga Dvesha Bijuktoistu Vishayan Indriya Oischaran Vishayan Indriya Oischaran Atma Vassair Vidheyatma Atma Vassair Vidheyatma Prasadam Odhigacchati Prasadam Odhigacchati. Prasad means the tranquility, the peace is attained. When one will attain peace and tranquility? By detaching, ragodesho bijukto, detaching from or feeling, detaching is the first point, and when a developed person is repulsive to raga and desha. Raga means the objects of attachment, and they have translated attraction and repulsion, raga and dvesha, opposite. You get attached or you get repulsive. So raga, desha, the two things. Raga means attachment and dvesha means is repulsion. So both, for a man of purity, a man of silence, man of Brahma Jnana, he will neither be affected by attachment or by delusion. So, freed from both sides, attachment or attraction or repulsion. Vishayan, the objects of the sensory, the sense objects and the senses, when this disciplined yogi, which can move away from the objects of the senses, under control, and free from attraction and aversion, can do that, then one attains tranquility. So, to attain tranquility, one should be disciplined. And what is the discipline? Moving among objects of the senses, but not affected by that. That means it is not having no contact. Like your non-sticky pan. You can cook, but it does not get sticky. He will live in the sense objects. He will live like us in the world, but he will not be touched here. That's why you call asparsa yoga. There is a one beautiful term. They live in the world, they don't get sparsa. Sparsa means touch. They move over it, but they don't get boat in the water. Water is there, but water does not enter into the boat. It floats in the boat, and there is called the lotus leaf. Lotus leaf, if you put water over it, you see the water, but it does not get stuck. It's not non-sticky. So this is the point. But the disciplined yogi, moving among objects of the senses, but under control. That means he has mastered. He does not get attached to those things. He is free from attraction and aversion. He does not feel attracted, neither aversion. Just life floats. Whatever comes, they see, they experience, but not get the second point, attachment, aversion, and inclination. And then I will have to have it, that desire. All these future things are gone, and free from, then gain tranquility. So this is the idea that to get tranquility, one will have to practice the detachment. All the text ultimately Ramakrishna's word. What is in the Gita? Say 10 times, tyago, tyago, tyago. And detach, detach, detach. Attachment brings all suffering, detachment will bring. So here is an explanation. I will read that few lines. The senses are extrovert by nature. God has created this. You cannot do anything. In the Kathopanishad says that God has created the senses all focused outside. Therefore it sees the outside object. No antaratman, not what is within. But intelligent people, dhiraha, pratyagatmanam moksha, they want to see what is within. Pratyagatmanam, avritta chakshu, they close their eyes to reach the immortality. So here is the senses are extrovert by nature. They ramble in the fields of external. Those objects that are pleasing to them are hugged, while those others that are displeasing, shunned. That is our nature. I like something, I dislike something. What I like, I want to see that, I want to hear about that, I want to touch that, I want to taste that, I want to experience that. What I don't poison oak, if I know, I will not go there, I will not touch it, I will hate it. So these are the two opposites will be there in the world. A closer study reveals that these senses are themselves instrument in the hands of the mind. But these senses are controlled by whom? Who controls the senses? Mind. Mind tells, hey, come this side. And the senses force. But we have no control over this mind. Mind is my next assistant, but mind has taken the power in himself, ignoring the boss. We have given long license to the mind, and the boss never inquired what the mind is doing. And now, in a certain point in spiritual journey, hey mind, why did you go there? And who listens to you? I am the boss myself, no? So that's why it needs long time to tame the mind. So a closer study reveals that these senses are themselves instruments in the hands of the mind. As goaded by the mind, they indulge in attraction and aversion. He is a yogi who has conquered his mind. He makes it reveal in Atman. If it ever goes outward, it does so, being untainted by attraction and aversion. Because when a yogi controls mind, pure mind, and they see the divine everywhere. There is no good or bad, because it is all permeated with one consciousness. There is a purity as well as innocence in its contacting the external objects, with the result that the tranquility of the mind is not disturbed. On the other hand, calmness and clarity increases. It is a form of samadhi for the mind to be fixed in purity and calmness while making benign use of the senses. Sri Ramakrishna's life exemplifies this fact. The sight of an exclusive verdure below and dense black clouds above with a group of snow-white cranes in the flight in between took him into the beyond. While the makeup of Shiva was going on in person, the sense of touch with the holy ash all over the body transported him into infinite. Hearing of the divine name of the Lord was a sure means to put him into samadhi. That means he is talking about all the senses are all directing him to that one truth, the absolute truth, Atman. Aroma of the incense used in the worship roused the divine consciousness in him. The taste of the sacramental food invoked his devotion to God. Thus all the five senses served him as gateways to noumenon. Instead of there being impediments, they become instruments for the transcendental flights of the perfected mind of this disciplined yogi. So, that means this gives us hope that if we can start practicing this way, using the same sense organs, our Shraddhananda Swami used to say that when the war was going on and then Hitler was conquering one country after another, he is capturing the soldiers and then utilizing those soldiers to fight on his behalf. So it is like that. The sense organs which you are disturbing, you conquer them and utilize him for your own purpose. And that mind, that senses it touches all the senses. But those touch takes him to God. Sri Ramakrishna's example has been given that whatever he is smelling, taking him in the consciousness. No? Someone is talking about God and he gets into samadhi. So singing some song and he is going. So every sense organ, the ear, the sound, the eyes, they seeing something. A boy standing in a bend form, standing in Calcutta Maidan, and he is thinking of Krishna. The same sight, touch of that sight of the object leads him to that God consciousness. So we can practice that way in our spiritual life to master that senses. Okay, we end here. And I don't think that there will be any question. So Devi Prana is here, John is here, and Lito also. Lito also is here. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Nice to see you after maybe how much? 1 month? November, no? Oh, 2 months. 2 months. Anyhow, nice to see you. Okay. Jai